It's fascinating to me within the comic book industry that you have the same people that are telling you F every single one of you, get F'd, that are also the names that are jockeying for position when it comes to Marvel and DC coming back saying, hey, why don't you give us a giant crossover? But see, that's the way that comic books have always been. And you know how they've done that? They've done that with the status freelancer. Interestingly, though, that same status, freelancer, they don't qualify for unemployment. So right now, there are no paychecks coming. And without that guaranteed paycheck for a project, you have people out there that have been talking about, hey, I work for the publisher. I don't work for the retailer. I don't work for the fan. They have to find money elsewhere. And their earning potential? Well, let's take this as an example. Here's Ron Martz asking for $7,500 on a project Demigod. This thing, it has been up for over 30 days. You're talking about something that is not a terrible price, and a guy out there that has been on Green Lantern, that has been associated with so many projects, that loves all the big likes, he can't collect $7,500 in 30 days. I mean, that says something, doesn't it? See, that's the fascinating thing, I think, about these companies, their representatives. I mean, take C.B. Cebulski here, the top dog in Marvel. Currently, we're being told we need to go and support local comic shops, because right now they need our help. But let's be honest, we know what this really says. It says, hey, why don't you support those freelancers? Still, if we went with the comic book shop, let's think about helping out comics. See, I always wonder, is this what helping comic shops look like? Or maybe is this helping out, saying, hey, you're lucky I'm not strapped or you'd be in trouble? Or how about stuff like this on a personal front, talking about myself and where I live and how, hey, I better learn to STFU or else. See, that's the reality of the comic book industry. The Donny Cates, the Tim Doyle, both pictured here, by the way, they're all together, all cronyism, all nepotism behind the scenes, still thinking that they matter, but still wanting your help, your money, because right now they need you, but at the same time, they don't want you to have a voice. So hey there, so today we return to that wonderful world of comic books. But before we get there, let me say this. I sincerely, and I mean that sincerely, hope that you and yours are doing okay in this time of uncertainty. From that umbrella family to yours, we sincerely say thank you for what you do. We're all in this together. And if you find that you do need something, you can't get help, hit people up, including myself. Maybe we can help you out somehow. Now, as far as the state of comics goes, I'm not going to rehash old ground, but I am going to say this. Things are looking worse by the day. Now, before covering someone like Donny Cates, who has gone out of his way in the past to appease people that don't buy comic books because, oh my God, I might actually have some trouble, I want to showcase something to you about redundancy and about the state of Marvel and DC. See, as I'm pretty sure that you know by now, Diamond Distributors, the only distributor in the game, I mean, you have a lot of publishers like Marvel, DC, and on, but only one person that gets those in the shop, they not only shut down, but now they're quote-unquote making redundancies. Redundancy. I mean, that's an awful way to describe human beings during a state of crisis, and yet here we are. Now, Bleeding Cool, they reported this. They didn't know the scope of such redundancies, how many are at what level, but they understood this to mean senior staffers. So we're talking about the upper echelon of Diamond purging because they're trying to survive this time. What's more in this is the UK. They're actually paying employees 80% of their wages to be furloughed during this period. So you will see Diamond UK employees actually still get paid. But in the United States, well, this means a lot of people are going to be out of work. Now, fascinatingly enough, Marvel, they're showcasing their desperation in this too. They started making inquiries behind the scenes, for example, about direct shipping, something we haven't seen since the 1990s, and that's what killed comic books back then. Marvel trying to direct ship. Now, it looks like they've laid that aside, but still, you see the desperation in it. Additionally, going with that idea, desperation, Marvel and DC, they have not reduced their planned publication schedules, or making their titles returnable for comic book stores, or even how they might distribute comics. In fact, Marvel is still printing comic books without the ability to move them. And DC, they are desperately shopping for another publisher, according to Bleeding Cool, now that Transcontinental Publishing in Canada has shut down, impacting DC Comics, Image Comics, Dark Horse Comics, IDW, Boom, Archie Comics, Titan, Dynamite, and so many other comic book publishers. Now, during all of this, how far away do you think a company like Marvel is from quote-unquote making redundancy? And how far away are people like, say, Donnie Cates? You know, those people that have been egotistical, that have been narcissistic toward fans. How far do you think they are from the breadline? See, color me cynical, but I remember how these people have treated consumers for a long time, because consumers had the audacity of saying, hey, why don't you act like professionals? What we were greeted with were things like block botting. Here's Al Ewing, for example, discussing that. I do a lot of blocking on Twitter, including using blockchains. My gaff, my rules. I've been blocking comic skaters for a while as a quote-unquote movement there to my readers, and they make the lives of creators, retailers, and friends worse. I don't want them in my audience. So they want your money now, but at the same time, they don't want you out there engaging. Why? Because in the words of Mark Waid, yet another Marvel employee, if you're on social media, you get block-botted or blockchained, and you're a genuinely civil consumer that's caught up in the fray, well, it was a privilege to interact with those people. It was not a God-given right, because they're all rock stars. They're all narcissists at the end. See, these same people that are calling for empathy, that are saying, hey, you owe me something in this, are the same ones that wholesale blocked people, calling you alt-right trolls. And not only that, but they would remove people's identities at leisure if they disagreed with them. Take number 5 here, for example, the type of troll that you're going to be, a blackface troll. If you said, hey, I'm black, or queer or Latino person, and I have a problem with your behavior, if you only had a few followers or you had a newer account, no, you don't get to have that identity. So if you can't have your identity, then why do they get to go out and say, have the identity of someone that I actually give a crap about? See, that's why when I see something like this, talking about Marvel and DC giving comics a big crossover, and I see the people again jockeying for position, I don't forget exactly who they are. See, looking through the list of people trying to get involved, I see people like Richard Pace, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I remember you, guy. See, I remember that you have Midnight Harvest, a Kickstarter that you put together, and you last updated in 2018, and that you were supposed to deliver in 2014, but you don't even answer questions about. See, I remember you denigrating consumers for politics. Here's one of those examples. Calling or saying the active harassment of other comic book professionals is actually okay. Yeah, people don't forget that. My wallet, it doesn't forget. Or how about, say, a Kurt Busiek that thinks he should get involved? See, Kurt's one of those people that thinks it's a privilege to interact with him. And not only that, if he insults you on his Twitter, he's a freelancer. So yeah, why don't you keep that status? Or how about one of the mainstream's big guns like Tom Taylor? He only decided to weaponize the idea that comics are for everyone in order to start a conversation wherein he could gatekeep out the people that he didn't like. Can you guess what kind of people that he didn't like in the conversations by then? Well, let's see. Comic skaters, aka consumers that don't know their place. Or how about, say, Pat Zurcher? I mean, he's a fun one to look at. Here's one of hundreds of examples where he belittles comic book fans, and when someone asks about customer service, these people, they go out of their way to tell you, hey, you're not entitled to that. You need to just check it on down the road. There's people like Gail Simone who actively motivated me to go out and to put this channel together this way because she actively backed that Alex DeCampi post I showed earlier. And when I mentioned that, I bet I can't put together a coherent thought. You know what? I bet I can. See, I see posts like this, and I'm not reminded of, we could get Batman and Venom. What I'm reminded of is the fact that this guy, he blocked me because of his active endorsement of someone like Tim Doyle. I'll let the article here by Bounding Into Comics speak for itself. See, now positivity matters. Now, if you say something something about the end of jobs, you're literal scum. And F every single one of you. Get effed, yeah. I think that says plenty. Where was that positivity years ago when we were talking about professionalism, just trying to get you folks to engage with some decency, and you were throwing us all under the bus? Yeah, you know what? You stapled our wallets closed, and they're going to stay that way. See, for people like Donnie Cates, they don't get this one lesson. Likes are free. And, going to the comic shop, it costs you $4 a pop, $7 a pop, $9 a pop per comic. To note, too, people like myself, we do support comic book shops. In fact, this is my total for when I went and settled up. But you know what? I don't do this nearly as much. You know why that is? Because of the Cates out there, because of the Simones. They have run away people because they actively engage in chasing likes. And you know what? It chases away consumers. But anyway, you tell me what you think about all of this stuff. And when the market goes down, hey, it goes down. And it was all their fault. So to close, I want to thank you for showing up. I want to thank you for being here. You make these endeavors possible. I don't want to monopolize your time by saying this either, but I do want to thank you for it because not enough people take that opportunity to say, you know what, you matter. If you like this content as well, you want to sub to the channel and share videos, definitely do so. But you being here, that matters, like I say. So again, thank you, appreciate you, and we're done. Thanks.